Page 138, Scarborough Fair. Not really anything new except maybe a new note for the treble clef. If you look down at the bottom of the page, you see that little new note they're showing there. It is a G, the G below middle C. Two ledger lines. Well, let's review because you can figure this out. One ledger line below treble clef, as you already know, I hope, is middle C here. And the lines are every other note. So two ledger lines would be here, that would be an A, and this note is right under that second one, so it's a G. And yes, you ought to memorize that note too. Yeah, we get it in this piece. Let's look the piece over. It's 4 lines long, treble and bass clef, no sharps or flats in the key signatures, so it's either in C major or A minor. You need to do the scales on both. If you look at the end, we're here. That's an A minor chord. We're not having the C, but I figure it's an A minor. All right. 3/4 time signature, quarter notes, half notes, dotted half notes, and we have a dotted rhythm. I'm hoping by now the dotted rhythms are okay. You're fine with them. If not, please go back to where they were introduced and go through that again. It's important you understand dotted rhythms. Please don't just guess. Well, it's a long short. I'll just play a long note and then I'll play a short note afterward. Please, it's important you get it rhythmically accurate. You understand them. Right hand first, let's check the notes and fingerings and all. And you're starting out on an A, 2 ledger lines below the staff. Here, that puts your hand here. Not going to stay here, but that's where you're starting. Now 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3. And that note is tied. You see the curved line under the note? It goes off into nowhere. Well, and look at the beginning of the second line. Treble clef here. That A, that has a little curved line that's coming from nowhere. It's the same line. That's how they can do it when it goes between different lines of music. So the A at the end of the first line is going to be held for 4 counts. And then you lift up. It's the end of a phrase you can lift up, or you can reach up if you want to. We changed hand positions. Then we have an F sharp. Use third finger, because the third finger's on the F. I'm going to use that on. And you stay there. And then the third line, second measure, the first E, you have a G, and then an E is 2, and then 5. Again, we take advantage of repeated notes to change hand positions. That's all we're doing. That puts us back down here. Now, the last 2 measures of the third line, they want you here. Cross over 1. If you don't want to cross over the thumb, I mean, it's good practice. But another fingering we can try here is, rather than thumb, just reach down to the second finger. That way your thumb's right there. And then you have 2 A's, the last note of the third line and the first note of the fourth line. 2 A's, well, I can use those repeated notes to change hand positions. So at the end of the third line, it's 2, and then 1. And I'm back where I need to be. And then the last 2 measures, you do cross over. But stay there. You just use third finger. We don't need to use thumb on the last note because we're done. So once you cross over, you can just stay there. We changed hand positions again. So the last 2 measures is here, here, 2, and here, 3. How you finger the end of the third line, I'll leave that up to you. I don't like crossing over the thumb if I don't have to. It's why I suggested that. But it is good practice. You need to do that. Left hand has the chords, so we're not using all the notes in a chord. Don't have to. Third measure, it's an F. Thumb comes up. Second line, third measure is an F sharp. If you can't fit up in here, you got to use second finger. I don't know how big your hand is or how fat your fingers are. So I'll leave that up to you. And the third line, broken chords. Rest, rest, and then they want second finger. I see no reason for that. I really don't. I've been using thumb on that up above in the block chords. So why not use thumb here? I see no reason. You got rest, you can do that. So I suggest third line down, last measure, use thumb. Last line, you're back to the block chords. Now reach one key down, you just come down, and then back up. You move around a little bit in the left hand. So it's here, 1, 2, 3. So somebody's playing on every beat somewhere. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1. There. The last measure of the first line going into the second line. The right hand is tight, but you're playing the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 1. And then you go on. 1, 2. See that A at the end of the second line is not tied. That curved line is not a tied line. It's for the phrase marking. So watch out which curved line you're using here. You play that A again. Make sure you're resting in the left hand here. You get the idea, I hope. It's a little tricky in the rhythm. So you go through and put the hands together and then go back through it however many times and work out the hesitations. Work on those spots where you're hesitating, so get rid of them. And we can think about the articulation. The left hand, you just play it as connected as you can. They give you slurs like in the third line on the broken chord. Rest, down, up, down, up. That's fine. Doesn't hurt anything. They could give you slurs on the chords, except you can't connect repeated notes, so it doesn't matter. So just connect them as best you can. In the right hand, you have the phrases. So on the beginning of the second line, you're ending a phrase, lift up. A little lift. It's like taking a breath. You just cut that note a little bit short so you can lift up. Lift up. Lift up. So just lift up between the phrases in the right hand. As far as the dynamics go, again, I don't agree with what they're doing here. You need the MF. You do not need the PP. I would cross that out. Get rid of it. The one dynamic is what's needed, and that applies to the melody, and it's up to you to understand that. So you keep everything else in the background. Whatever you think mezzo forte is, or moderately loud. These chords are in the background. They probably put PP instead of P, because when you're down here, it's easy to get too loud too easy. I mean, you can drown it out. So keep them way, way, way in the background. We want to know it's there, but we don't want it to interfere with the melody. And it's all about the same. Now speed, not fast or slow, just in the middle. And there is a retardando there at the very end. Just slow down a little bit. Fermata at the end, you just hold that out as long as you feel it should be held. When I do it with a metronome, I'll just double the value and hold it for 6 counts instead of 3, so I stay with the metronome. Let's play this together slowly and double check the notes and the rhythms. Even one hand at a time if you need to, because these rhythms are a little bit tricky. So I'll give us 3 counts. Well, let's try it. Now, I'm not doing any dynamics here. I'm going to play both hands about the same. I need you to hear the notes. 1, ready, go. 1, hold